and welcome to the Holly Meredith Show. Today is another day in the dismantling of our country that I don't think I have to tell you about. Actually, you're living it, so you're well aware of it, just as I am. But I am going to give you some pertinent, relevant points that unfortunately, for all of us, you won't be hearing on the mainstream media because they want you to remain ignorant. There is a picture on the screen right now. It's called Borders. What borders? And the reason it's up there is because we have the spectacle of the not president of our United States actually having the balls to call President Putin on the carpet for the Ukraine, to call Benjamin Netanyahu on the carpet for Israel and Gaza, telling these people they have no right to invade other countries, while on our southern border we have mayhem, we have chaos, we have insanity, we have complete flouting of our laws. We have a lunatic in charge of our government, and that lunatic is Barack Hussein Obama, not president, really known as Barry Soetoro. This lunatic is orchestrating an invasion of our country, a planned invasion. We don't have a southern border anymore. People are walking across the border at his behest because the lunatic has let it be known that if your children under the age of 18, if your children can get to America, if you can get your foot across the border, that we, that's all of us, are going to take care of you, that we are going to let you stay. And right now the lunatic is asking for $3 billion and change. What he's saying it's for is to do something about the border. It has nothing to do with the border. It has to do with giving us more money for immigration attorneys, for immigration judges, for immigration hearings, for places to put these people, to give them health care and dental care and food and take care of them. Now, I know all of you soft hearts out there are saying, but they're just children. So what? Children grow up. And when this pack grows up, you're going to see people who even now, coming here illegally with us giving them what we have to give them, they don't like it. They're turning up their noses. They don't like the free clothing the churches are giving them. They don't like their microwaved meals they're getting. They want to be able to go to a restaurant and sit down and have a real dinner on you every day. That's because the lunatic in charge of our country has told them they can come here. And the lunatic refuses to do anything about it, even though he could. The lunatic could sign one of his famous executive orders, and with the wave of his pen, his big mouth, and a phone, he could put a stop to it right now. Right now. This very minute in time, he could stop the whole travesty. Is he going to do that? No, he is not. And you say to yourself, why isn't he going to do that? Because these people are bringing diseases. These people are all poor. They have nothing. These people are going to go right on the welfare rolls, without a doubt. These people are going to go right on Obamacare, without a doubt. The reason the lunatic doesn't care, in fact actually likes it, is because the lunatic believes these people will be voting for Democrats within the next 5 to 7 years. And he's probably right. So try to get this in your head. Right now, the lunatic is dispersing illegal aliens all over our country. Delaware, Massachusetts, with no warning, by the way. The people in the states, the governors of the states, no warnings, mayors of towns, nothing. They're bringing them in the middle of the night so people can't protest like they were doing in Marietta, California. They're threatening the border control guards. Your wonderful lunatic in charge is telling them you can't talk about it, you can't show any pictures, You can't let people know what's really going on here, because the lunatic understands that if the people of the country could finally get a real picture, the real truth about what is going on our borderless country, that he would be dragged out of the White House by his graying, ugly hair. Because that's what he should be, dragged out of our White House. This thing, this creature, this illegal, this Kenyan, this Muslim, this communist reject from life. And I will say this right now because it's all I can stump. Sometimes I get so upset with it I can barely tolerate it. How did this country allow this thing? How did you allow this thing to become your president? What were you thinking? When that travesty came out before the first election and announced to all of you very publicly, we are going to fundamentally transform America. What the hell did you think he was talking about? What kind of transformation did you think he had in mind? We didn't need any goddamn transformation. We are the best country the world has ever seen forever. What needed to be transformed exactly? Didn't you dawn on yourselves to say, what is he going to transform? Well, now you know. His whole plan was to take the greatest country the world has ever seen and turn it into a piss pot like Mexico. That is why he loves having all these people come here, because they have nothing, nothing. And by allowing them to come here, he knows, in his black heart, he knows, he's not just black, he has a black heart as well. He knows that these people who have nothing are given the opportunity to have something on us, because we're paying, honey. We will be paying for frickin' ever on us. These people are going to be grateful. These people are going to say, thank you, Democrats. The whole plan of all of this invasion, you are being invaded. Get it through your heads. We need the armed guard on our borders, empowered to shoot. And lest you say to yourself, oh, Holly, 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 that's so cruel. No, it isn't. It's necessary. If you have no borders, you have no country. If you allow these people to come in and stay here next week, you will have hundreds of thousands more. 3 months from now, you will have millions of people on our southern border wanting to come into the country because they've seen these people get to stay here and they think they deserve the same thing. And now you have no country. The reason the Democrats have been in charge and caused so much damage for the last 55 to 60 years is because, smart as they were, when Lyndon Baines Johnson and his Great Society crap got put into law, they understood they had to change the demographics of the country. And they did. If the same demographics were in place as in 1961, we wouldn't be experiencing any of this hell. Because people who knew what they were doing, intelligent, educated white men, who were running the country up until that point in time, were the enemy as far as Democrats are concerned. And the Democrats set about doing their very best to make white men look stupid and dangerous and mean and cruel and shouldn't be allowed to hold public office. Only women, only minorities. Get rid of those white guys. Well, now that you did that, what do you think? You think we've really done something amazing by having the first black president ever? Hopefully the last. Do you think this has done something good for our country? Because it has not. Do you feel comfortable at home at night? Can you afford to pay your bills on time? Do you see a great future for your children? Do you have children who graduated college and can't get a job for the last 5 years? You can lay all of that right on the lunatic and the Democrats and the media, all of whom collude to make this happen. And you say to yourself, well, why would people who have a pretty good life want something like this to take place and pull down America? Let me tell you why. Because in their pea brains, they believe in socialism or outright communism, which means nobody has more than anybody else, which means you don't give anybody any awards for being better, even if they are, which means you pretend that there are no genetic differences between the races, which there are, and they're right up in front. Not difficult to see. This is the reason you find us in this dire strait that we are in right now. Borders? What borders? Vladimir Putin loves his country. He loves Russia. He's an avowed communist. He doesn't hide it. He is also a dictator. He doesn't hide that either. And that's what the lunatic is acting like. We have a tyrant, lunatic, loon in charge of our country. When he gives a speech, it's all I, me, my, myself, and I. It's me, myself, and I. That's how this lunatic runs our country. Me, myself, and I. And oh, by the way, he's getting ready to go to another vacation. This one is going to be at Martha's Vineyard, which is a wonderful, beautiful, very expensive place, which you're paying for, so he doesn't care. Doesn't matter to him how expensive it is because the bill comes to us. All the bills for all these people that are destroying our country come to us. We pay for everything, including their vaunted best health care in the world that all of us used to have, and now we won't have access to it thanks to Obamacare. The people in your government don't pay. Congress, Supreme Court, President, Vice President, they don't pay any copays. They don't have any caps. They can spend millions of dollars a year on their health care, and they do. That's why these suckers live so long. Didn't you ever wonder about that? Didn't it ever occur to you, why do these people have such healthy lives? John McCain has cancer of the face. He's had it for about 18 years. He's still here. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Ginsburg has pancreatic cancer. You and I would have died of that in about 6 months. She's had it about 8 years. So you have to stop and figure out for yourself. You have what's known as a monarchy now. We passed the oligarchy. With the lunatic, we have entered into a different realm. He sees himself as a king. He sees himself as an emperor. He considers himself to be above everybody. He truly believes, because he's a fanatic, that he knows more than anybody else, that only he knows what's going on and what's the better for us, that we haven't a clue. The Constitution, what the hell is that? A piece of paper written by old white men. He has been heard to say that. A piece of paper written by old, dead white men. And when you look at the pictures of the people that did the Constitution, it's very true. They were all white men. They were all landowners. They were all educated because that was the rule of the day. In order to be allowed to vote, you had to own land, just like in England. We copied a lot of our laws from England. You had to be a landowner. You had to, in other words, have something to lose if you screwed up the government. Today, any freak walking across the street doesn't even have to show proof of ID, doesn't even have to prove they're an American, doesn't even have to prove they didn't vote 15 minutes ago somewhere else down the road. You can thank the Democrats for that, because the Democrats did that. We used to have, prior to Lyndon Baines Johnson, oh my God, please, are you rotting in hell? We used to have, before Lyndon, we used to have real rules for education and real rules for your voting. When you went to a voting place, you had to provide proof of ID. You had to show whom you were. You think that makes any sense? I think it makes a lot of sense. Didn't work for the Democrats, though, because then they couldn't pack the voting booth. You had, prior to Lyndon Baines Johnson, you had to be able to read the ballot. Do you think that's something that perhaps you should be able to do when you vote? You should be able to read the ballot and know what you're voting for? Thank that old Lyndon, what a winner. He got rid of that. He tossed that right out. No, you don't have to read the ballot. We'll tell you where your vote should be. So the Democrats line them up, put them in buses, drive them down to the polling booth, and say, vote for this one, vote here, vote there. They don't even know what they're voting for, because when it started in the 60s, they were illiterate. Because, again, the Democrats threw that out. That was, at one time, a law. You had to be able to read. Oh, God, can you imagine? You had to be able to prove whom you were, another intelligent move. And you had to pay, hold on for it, a poll tax, which I'm all in favor of. A poll tax was $5 or $10 that you paid when you voted to the people that were running the voting booths. Because I've done it. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you get a stipend. You get like $2 a day. You're not doing it for the money. You're doing it for your country. I've done it. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you go down to the voting booth, you set everything up, you put everything together, and then you're there the whole day because you believe in it. It's what everybody in the country used to do. All of us used to want the country to be the best country. All of us. We didn't want anything for free. We didn't want people to take care of us. We didn't think the government knew all. Do you know what the government that knows all looks like? It looks like North Korea. North Korea today told its citizens that they won the World Cup. Ready to laugh? North Koreans think they won the World Cup. Now, North Koreans don't even have access to food. North Koreans are starving in the streets. If you're in North Korea, you don't see any dogs or cats. They ate them already. There is no food in North Korea. I'm getting ready to go to my break. I'm going to regale you with so much stuff that you'll be laughing, crying, calling your neighbors to watch the show. You won't believe what you're hearing because every word I say happens to be the truth. Therefore, you're not getting it anywhere on your regular stations.
Hi, good morning. I'm the owner of Chopstick Chinese Restaurant. My name is Scott Alam. I'm serving Mandarin, Sichuan, Cantonese cuisine past 18 years. I'm only the Chinese restaurant who's serving the halal food from South Florida, and then we make fresh cake and everything made from scratch. So cooks in order. So please try us, and we're in downtown, central location, and under the Dark Bay building. As you can see, we have a catering tonight, 100 people. Mostly we do takeout, dining, delivery, and catering too. So we have price ranges start from $6 to in between $12 to $13. Try us. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome back to the Holly Meredith Show. I was talking about, in the last segment, the border, of which we don't have one anymore on the south, and I was explaining why this is taking place and why moving these people all around the country is important, because it changes the demographics when it comes to voting. If you can't win with your argument, which Democrats can't, then if they stack the voting, which is what they're trying to do now, and get enough people in all of the states that right now are conservative, which is the plan, then you won't have anybody who doesn't just love your government. You won't have anybody who doesn't think that everything comes from the government. One of the reasons of the attacks on God is to take God out of your life and replace it with the lunatic. A couple of years ago, if you remember, there were school children who were actually singing praises to "Oh, Obama" in school. Are you ready? Were you not barking all over the place? Because I was. Anyway, I want to get back to the border because it's so important. It's not a humanitarian crisis. It's a freaking invasion of our country. We're being invaded. If you had anybody else in our White House other than this thing, it would have been stopped immediately. It's an invasion. If you don't want to see that, if your mind is so muddled and deluded that you still want to say, oh, let them all come in, why not? Let me tell you why not. Hi ho, it's off to steal your jobs we go. Because that's what these people will do. The whole reason the Chamber of Commerce is behind comprehensive immigration reform, which just means amnesty, is because if you flood the country with masses of people who don't have any education, they are going to take all the lower level jobs because they will work for less, which means you, with your high school diploma or your college education, are going to get screwed. You won't have a job. What are you supposed to do? Why, the lunatic and his unemployment and his food stamps will take care of you. You will be just like they are in Europe, where they have a 25% all the time unemployment. All the time. But they get to suck off the teat of the government. They get everything paid for from the government. Is it very nice? No. Is it what you would really want for your children's lives? No. And it certainly doesn't impact on the people making the laws, because they're way above you. Their children are living way better than you'll ever live. And the way they're going now, they'll live to be 200 years old, and you'll be dropping dead at 45 because you'll be working 2 jobs because you can't get one real job because the country's overwhelmed with all of these people coming here. Does that make any difference to you? Because it will make an enormous difference to you. All you ever have to do about anything in life is follow the money. If you wake up in the morning and that's the only rule you listen to, that's the only one you should listen to. Follow the money. Because that track will always show you what is really going on. The Chamber of Commerce doesn't care what happens to these people. They're not out there changing their diapers like our border guards are. Our border guards are border guards. They should not be changing babies' diapers. They should not be babysitting 2- and 3-year-olds. They should not be driving sick people to hospitals who are not even supposed to be here, but that's what they're doing. And of course, you're paying for all of it. You're paying for all of it. They will be, it's the same thing as the amnesty bill. When I read the amnesty bill and did 4 or 5 or 6 shows about it, I don't know, 15 months ago, and I'm going to start replaying those. When I did it then, I read it. And maybe some of you should actually start reading what your government is doing. Then maybe you'd wake up. In the bill, it clearly says, this comprehensive immigration bill they tried to get through and couldn't do it because you didn't want it. The comprehensive immigration bill clearly says that if an employer wants to hire one of these illegals that are new to the country, they're called provisional citizens. As soon as those people stepped across the border, they would have become provisional citizens, which is what they're going to become now. And that means as a provisional citizen, they can vote. That means as a provisional citizen, the bill says that if an employer in this country hires them over you, a regular citizen who's paying all the bills, that employer will receive a $3,000 bonus for doing that, for every one of them. If that employer hires an American citizen instead of a new provisional citizen, they will be fined $5,000. This is all true. All of it is true. So once again, the American citizen gets stiffed. Once again, you're going to be robbed blind. Once again, you're going to have to spend all of your money. The only thing that will come from this is you'll be taxed again. Your taxes will be raised to cover all of these people, and there's no end in sight. There is no end in sight. Why do you think the federal government, run by the lunatic, doesn't allow anybody to have any pictures taken? Why do you think Mr. Bridenstine, who did finally get in, he finally got in yesterday, Jim Bridenstine, he is the representative, the Republican representative, member of Congress, who tried to go and see for the first time what was happening and was turned away, which is completely and totally illegal in our Constitution. They can't do, but they do it. Let's face reality. The lunatic breaks our laws every single day. When I say the lunatic, I mean Obama. He breaks our laws every single day, in every way. Sic semper tyrannis, he is a tyrant. He is a tyrant, and he is acting like a tyrant. He is not acting like a president. He is acting like a person who couldn't care less. He's going to do whatever it is he wants to do, and if you don't like it, too bad. He doesn't care. He's never going to have to face another voter. He doesn't even care that the people who are Democrats right now, who are going to run for office in the Senate coming in November, may lose half of their jobs. Good. None of them should be there because they block everything, but blame Republicans, of course. He doesn't care because, as far as the lunatic is concerned, I don't think, like many other people don't think, that he's ever going to leave. In his mind. In his mind. He believes that he is so wonderful. There's something wrong with all of us. He actually had somebody say that the other day. One of his flunkies came out and said, all of the rest of America, that's 330 million people, all of the rest of America just doesn't understand Barack. You just don't have the ability, the capacity, the mental abilities to comprehend what he's trying to do. 330 million people can't comprehend Barack. That came from David freaking Axelrod, a member of, the 2% of the media that controls everything in our country, yes. David Axelrod looked right in the camera and said, 330 millions are just stupid. You're all stupid. Only the lunatic has a clue. If you believe that, you are really pitiful. You're as pitiful as he is. And he is pitiful. He is pitiful. He is pathetic. I'm not sure he's not Elton John. He is the most revolting thing I think I have ever seen in my life. Parading around, running the greatest country in the world. Right into the ground. I want you to listen to what I'm saying. You can Google all this. I'm not making it up. I never lie. My nose isn't sticking to the ground. I don't have to worry about lawsuits. Because if I tell you something, it's a fact. And you're not going to hear the facts from your mainstream media. A, because they adore him. Why, I shall never know, but they do. And B, because I think they're shaking in their pants. They're afraid of him. With a lot of good reason. Anyway, I'm going to a break. I hope you come back after this break because I have even more to tell you that you're never going to hear on your poor, frightened media.
Hello, good morning. I'm Ray Flo. This is my storage, Lake Worth Storage. We've been here, I guess, about 8 years. It's been great. Love Florida, love the storage business. I was meant for this business. Come with me, we'll go inside. And here's the fantastic staff. Mr. Josh runs it. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
And the quiet one, look here, Marge. Look this way. Look this way. There you go. All right. So, well, there is a lot to run in storage. There is no silver bullet to make it successful. We've been very successful. So, you got to have a few things. You got to have, of course, the price has got to be right. You got to have a nice staff, congenial people. We have that. Place has to be clean. We have that. And we have to treat people with dignity and very nicely, and we do that. So we've got, the price, the staff. We've been here a long time. We've got a good record. Above all, though, it really should be secure. And we have very little problems with that here. We're very secure. We've got 14 cameras there and some more here. So, yeah, we're set for the public. We're set up. Excellent.
Hi, I'm Maria of My Clean Home Services. Been in business for 5 years now. I specialize in residential and I also do commercial. If you need any references, I can provide that for you upon request. You can give me a call at 954-520-4282 if you have any questions. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Hello and welcome back. Now let's get to something else that's very important to all of us. We have a soldier who did 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. He's a Marine. His name's Andrew Tamaresi. He's entering his 3rd month of captivity in a Mexican hellhole that he never should have been in for 1 nanosecond. He made a wrong turn. He admitted it. He asked to just be sent back across the border, back to San Diego. But no, he got arrested. That was almost 3 months ago. He is the only person in Mexico who can't come back across the border because everybody else is just walking across the border. Are we stopping them? Are we putting them in jail? Are we treating them like criminals? No, although they are, and we should be doing all of the above. In fact, God help us, John McCain, who is a complete and total sellout in every way, finally, because he's in the state of Arizona, which he should have been gone a long time ago, John McCain last week brought up the idea of putting ankle bracelets on all of these people, but they'll run out of ankle bracelets, believe me. Ankle bracelets on all of these people, because this is what happens when they come across the border, in case you didn't know. If you thought anybody paid any attention to where they go, dream on. Once they have their initial hearing, they are given a date. They're given a piece of paper with a date on it for their formal hearing in front of a judge, whether or not they're allowed to stay, whether their case is good enough. They're given a date, and guess what? 97% of them never show up. They never come back. They've already blown off our laws by coming into the country. They have full intentions of blowing off our laws when they get given the state. They already know how to work the system. They've been working it for 55 years. They know it better than you do. They know what they're entitled to more than you do. And that's why they're strolling across our borders. So even putting an ankle bracelet on them won't help you, because you can put ankle bracelets on 25,000, 50,000, 90,000. We're hitting about 75,000 at the moment. But what are you going to do with 25 million? Exactly. You're going to hear all those little beep, beep, beeps of their ankle bracelets, but don't just go get somebody to take the bracelet off. They've already broken so many laws. What do they care if now they're a fugitive, if now they're a felon? They're really a fugitive and a felon the moment they come across our border. But they're not going to care, and nothing is going to happen, because this is the way. This is the way that the lunatic will cause so much chaos, so much damage, so much confusion, so much breakdown in communities. This is what happened when they first integrated Negroes into white schools. Same thing. Same thing is happening right now. All of these people who are uneducated, who don't speak English, they speak Spanish, who have no affinity or devotion to America. They just want to come here for what they can get. All of these people are going to be plunked down, and they are being plunked down all over the country. In every little area they can put them in. Delaware, Massachusetts, Nebraska, for God's sake. The heartland of America. The Nebraska governor is saying, stop it. But is anybody paying attention to him? No. All of these people are going to be plunked down all over the country, which will cause chaos in these towns. It will cause confusion, and more importantly, it will break them financially. They will be broken because they won't have enough money to pay for their regular things they have to pay for, like water. And they'll be expected to pay for all these creeps because they've been dropped on them. Going back to Andrew Tamaresi one more time so you understand. He's our Marine. He's sitting in this hellhole jail. He should be allowed to get out. There's a picture on my screen right now of this poor guy. He has done nothing wrong. With the wave of his hand, the lunatic could get him out immediately, just like he could stop the chaos on our border. Don't hold your breath, because he has no intention of doing either one. He loves humiliating and embarrassing the military. He lives on it. He thrives on it. More than 30,000 of our military in Afghanistan right now, today, getting killed every week, having shots in their face. They just got pink slips from the lunatic telling them they no longer have a job. Now, how do you feel? You're in Afghanistan, bombs are blowing up, people are trying to kill you, some of your friends have gotten killed or maimed, and you get told that when you come back to this country, you're not going to have a job. How are you going to take care of your family? Evidently, the lunatic doesn't give a flying flip. Put all this stuff together, and it spells treason. It spells treason with a capital T. We've got trouble right here in River City, and we've got a lot of it. So when you're watching my show, I want you to pay attention, and I want you to If you don't believe me, if you think I'm just some crazy, some right-wing zealot, well, I'm right-wing, all right, as right-wing as you're ever going to see in this universe, because we need about 75 years of so far right you can't see left. We need about 75 years of never hearing the word Democrat again. We need to get back to America as the Constitution says America should be. Not America as the Communist Manifesto says it should be, which is what the lunatic is pushing down our throats. The Communist Manifesto. And if you don't believe me, Google it. Read it for yourself. It will look like every bill the lunatic has been trying to push. You could take it right out of the Communist Manifesto, word for word. I'm getting ready to close my show. You have no idea how exciting it is to learn all of these things and share them with you. And my audience is growing exponentially by leaps and bounds, and I thank all of you so much. If you like my show, support my sponsors, because it's because of them that I'm here. And if you like my show, listen to what I say and try to put it into practice. In other words, don't believe the lunatic. If you know any Democrat who voted for this thing once, say shame on him. If you know any Democrat who voted for this thing twice, then say to that thing, I'm never speaking to you again. And mean it! I'm getting ready to close my show. I had a wonderful time. Join me again.